This message is being brought to you by realestateyogi.com. I am here with Jim Johnson. He's a KeyBank private banking loan officer. Jim, hello. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Christy. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. We have a few questions for you regarding credit consolidation. I remember sitting down with my husband and us discussing this ahead of time and with our mortgage banker saying, okay, we cannot borrow, even though on paper we probably could have borrowed maybe $30,000 or $40,000 more than they were going to give us on paper. But after we did the math and we discussed it, and it was very interesting. It was almost like talking to a doctor about a blood test. Like, okay, this is your level here, this is your level there, this is what your cholesterol looks like. That's almost how I felt. And it was like, okay, well, we cannot borrow any more than X amount because the payment is going to be this specific number. Even though on paper we could financially afford a few $100s more, maybe $500 more per month, we needed that to go towards the other expenses so that we didn't face a bankruptcy, so that we didn't lower the score. So you're absolutely right. We did have a fantastic loan officer, mortgage broker that helped us think. It's all about the way you think and the way we were thinking about it, and it wasn't just an impulse like, okay, I need money now, give me a loan now, I got to fix this problem now, not worrying about what's going to happen in the future. It was a very in-depth plan. It was interesting.
So, it brings up a point that's it's somewhat of a tangent from the conversation of debt consolidation, but I will say that part of the things that we're discussing have a lot to do with the economy, opportunity, lack of opportunity, changes to the lending environment. So much has changed, and even in my world, my mortgage professional world, we've condensed. We lose generally probably about 30% of our workforce in any given year. And that could be due to legislative reasons. It could be like most things in life, it's smaller. A smaller shop has a very tough time making it work. There's consolidation of banks. Banks are buying other banks. Mortgage lenders are buying out mortgage lenders. But what I've found is that the people that have stayed, the real mortgage professionals that have stayed, those are the ones that really do take the time to understand your life. And I said before, the medicine cabinet of someone's life, like a doctor, like you said, like your cholesterol level. We really buy into you. We're involved in your personal life when you allow us to be. When you really tell us the full story and you say, this is what I'm dealing with. And, we're not just drinking the Kool-Aid, so to speak. We are buying into where you want to be and you understand where you're going. We may ask probing questions like you would to say, hey, what are your needs? What are you trying to get? And we may give you a couple of different options based on trying to get a grasp for where you're looking to be. This is your short term. This is your long term. This is where you could be. This is where your maximum capacity is. We do work with thresholds, and we have to work with budgets with you. We have our guidelines to follow. But we try to figure out ways to not make a client, or in this case, you didn't feel this way, closed in a corner. Even when you're dealing with day-to-day life and you're worried about the struggles of debt consolidation, it's overwhelming. It consumes you. You create anxiety, stress, which affects so many other parts of your life, your health, the way you treat other people, your job. It's very tough. I take it very, very serious, and that's why I appreciate your time. I appreciate you allowing me to speak. It's something where we get involved in it, and we try to create more than one way for you to accomplish those goals. And we try to give you avenues so that you understand and embrace those decisions and own those decisions. Life is about choices. You're always at a fork in the road. You can go left, you can go right. We're just trying to be a cog in that wheel to help you get to wherever it is that you want to go.
Yeah,
and hopefully that's the right choices.
That brings up 2 points for me. It sounds like you have another thread of advice, which is if someone, which we really want to give the proper information to people, that if they are, calling just an 800 number or just doing something to get that loan, if they're not as passionate as you are, if they're not talking to somebody that's willing to roll up their sleeves and really help them understand the decision, understand what the choices are so they can make an informed decision, that consumer should probably throw up a red flag and be very uncomfortable. So it sounds like that, if the person does not have the right professional that's a red flag issue. And then also with the economies and these jobs you've been talking about quite a bit, I do know that there are some things that the government has done, and that's why I was going to ask you. There are people that want to refinance to avoid foreclosure, or they're underwater with equity because of those financial struggles and what's been going on. So the legislation has come up with a program, and I was going to ask you what you knew about that. It's I guess some people refer to it as HARP, Home Affordable Refinance Program.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about that?
Oh, absolutely. HARP is great. HARP's a great, for those that are eligible, they're fantastic. And basically HARP, as you had mentioned, it's a conventional loan product. And when I mean conventional, it means that you have a traditional mortgage. You don't have a government-based loan like an FHA or a VA loan. You've got a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac loan, which someone could call their lender. They could look at the statement that they may receive or access something online through their mortgage company to view it. But basically, if you're eligible, and that's the first thing, you have to make sure that you have eligibility. But there are ways that and there are ways whether you've been maintaining credit on time or not maintaining credit on time to obtain a lower payment. There's modification and there's refinance. Generally, a modification, which has been a term that's been thrown around for the last few years, it was part of a package of relief that the Obama administration had introduced about 3 years ago. And it allows clients that are distressed, dealing with something in their life that's not allowing them to save money, pay their bills on time. They can reach out to their lender and they could take advantage of lowering their interest rate or restructuring their mortgage without having to go through the process of qualifying for credit, qualifying for income, going through the appraisal process. Many areas of the country have obviously gone through a situation where their home is no longer worth what it once was or when they purchased it. And in many ways, those clients now are not eligible. Regardless of how great their credit is or how great their job is and how much income they create, they still may not be eligible for those reasons. And this administrative had introduced these programs. The refinance version of HARP allows you, again, if you are eligible, allows you to, at times, go above and beyond the value of the house to refinance. These loans don't necessarily allow you to consolidate debt, but they do allow you to lower your payment, which you could use more money towards debt or just have more money in your pocket. So great programs. And they're always, Christy, they're always enhancing these. I get emails constantly about the updates to these programs. It's probably on a bi-monthly basis, the things that they will allow and ways that they're trying to create opportunities for clients to take advantage of the programs that have been in front of us. One of the other things, not to just go with HARP, but to take that further is even FHA, which FHA is a government-based loan, very flexible underwriting guidelines, very low interest rates. There's reasons why we would or would not use an FHA type loan, but they've even introduced certain things separate from HARP where if someone wants to buy a home or even refinance a home, they've introduced ways. For years, there's been an FHA streamline loan that's out there that regardless of your income, your employment background, if you've maintained an on-time mortgage payment and you have a high interest rate, you can refinance that mortgage, lower the interest rate. There's certain other things that go into it, but that's the basic premise. If you're trying to buy a home and you've gone through some issues, there are ways to buy a home with extenuating circumstances that if you prove that due to a certain negative economic event in your life, you can still buy a home with not having the minimum credit requirements. So my point is, and I thank you for asking, there are ways to get things done. And that, again, that's, you had mentioned utilizing an 800 number because I had mentioned it before, and I will say that it's not necessarily the 800 number that concerns me. It's the person that you may or may not be talking to. You want to make sure that are they just offering you what they have, or do they understand what you're trying to accomplish and understand what's available in general? I think that's very important. You need to be passionate and know your field. I may not be able to help every client, but I may have some information, some valuable intellectual property that could help them get from point A to point B. And it's important that you share that if you have it. Knowledge is power. And, again, that's why I appreciate being able to talk to you, because I'm able to kind of give some information that some clients may not get from just the general milieu. You may not walk into a lender's office. We're very fortunate in many areas to have positive reflections of my mortgage field where they do give this information. It sounds like you worked with one in the past as well.
Yeah, I actually spoke to a bankruptcy attorney. We had a customer come to the website who would soon be able to qualify for a program like that. And he, unfortunately, they were facing foreclosure, and they were running out of time. That's one of the things that we realized, and this does happen. That you mentioned, people get they're having anxiety. It changes the way they think. It changes everything because it's a lot of pressure, and people do tend to find out that they run out of time. But this bankruptcy attorney was amazing, because what he did was he was able to stop the foreclosure, but he was able to present and file a petition which allowed the person through the Chapter 13 bankruptcy also to modify the loan or get some type of HARP financing. So it made way for some amazing opportunities for that person, even though they thought their financial life was over. Oh my God, I'm going bankrupt. I'm going to lose everything. They saved the house, and then they were able to file the petition so that they could work with their mortgage broker to get the lending straight, the debt consolidation straight, and even leave some credit lines open. So no matter how bad it is, people are aware of it. Professionals such as yourself are aware of it and have developed products and tools to help people. So I definitely want to thank you for all your amazing insight. And I want to recommend for non-qualified people, if they believe they're not qualified, to definitely get the right person. And yeah, don't avoid the 800 numbers. Maybe call 3 or 4 of them. Get as much information as possible, and then as a consumer, you can make an informed decision. So definitely, we're running out of time, so maybe we can pick the conversation up again. But it was really a pleasure, to get all of your insight, Jim. I want to thank you for that.
Thank you, Christy. I truly appreciate your time.
Okay. Same here, Jim, and this message has been brought to you by realestateyogi.com. If you would like a free consultation about loan consolidation or any credit or debt issue, you can call 1-800-987-1397. This is the main credit consultation line for the service, so you can feel free to call that number anytime, day or night. It is available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Good day.